Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with X-Men 2099, number 3. And before we dive into this book, I want to say that I'm happy to announce that this is our 400th comic book review. I'm excited, and I can't think of any other book that I'd want to dive into. I first want to say thank you to all of you who check out our videos and chat with us down in the comments below. It means the world to me. So I want to say thank you to all of you who just enjoy watching these and reading these books and enjoying them, because that, at the end of the day, that's what matters. So with that said, let's dive into this book. One of the X-Men will die. Now that's a cover that you can get excited about. Now, once upon a time on our first channel, I did go over issue 1, which I'm going to have to dig out. But I had issue 3, which I want to give a shout out to my buddy Isaac for hooking me up with this. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it very much. I don't have 2, so there's like a gap. From what I understand, there was a betrayer in the midst. There's a gentleman named Xian, I think is how you pronounce his name, who knows the history of the X-Men, and in this dystopian future wants to resurrect Charles Xavier's dream. So he begins to look for mutants who at first, they're reluctant because they don't want to be brought out into the public and their lives put on the line. But there's a few good members that join. The leader gets, there's a betrayal, which we'll get into in a moment. A lot of the X-Men end up getting captured by this guy named Lawton, who kind of is this big cheese in the wastelands of this future. And he's trying to frame the X-Men for a murder that he did. What's that? Let's get into the book. So here we just kind of get a quick speed up, which I appreciate, so you kind of know what's happening without having read the prior issue. They're looking for this character, Crystalline, who I think is absolutely awesome. This cat, God, I can't remember his name. Let me see if I can look at it real quick. I bet you 10-1 I'm not going to be able to. It's Timothy Skullfire, I think is his name. And then this girl, what's her name? It's not, no, this is Serpentina. This character, Cerebra, yeah. Shikati Haddad, I think is how you pronounce her name. She kind of has, oh my god, Caliban's ability to track mutants in close proximity. So she's here and they're trying to find the team. And then we cut away to Lawton, which here, back in the day when they would draw villains, they'd always make him look elongated. Like if you think of like Cletus Cassidy and how he has those really sharp features to make him look psychotic. Very much the same deal here. Speaking of which, the print date on this book was December 1993, which, yeah, I don't want to remember December 1993. Anyway, moving on. He's like, I believe this is his sister. It's like, if you kill all those mutants, who will you serve up as the scapegoat for your next coup d'etat? That's not his sister, it's his assistant. No, wait. That is his sister, Desdemona. Brrr, I'm getting confused. But he just says, don't start, Des. Just go back to your Nuevo Gothic leeches you call friends. The business is mine. The casino, the hotel, and soon the entire syndicate. So it's kind of sad. It's supposed to be the year 2099. And, yeah, all this crap is still happening. So what's kind of neat is Xian. He's the leader of this new X-Men. Cerebra, senses him. But as you can see, you're like, what the hell is this? Some sort of cocoon. She's like, I sense him. But his life force is faint. He's on the verge of death. And here, spoiler warning. So if you want to read these books and not have it spoil, which I know these are old, decade-old books, but, you don't want some dude just to ruin it for you. So if you want to, go get the books, come back, and you're back. Here's the betrayal I was talking about. When Xian started the X-Men, this new X-Men is with his brother. What was his brother's name? I know I was going to forget. No, it's Metal. No, I can't remember for the life of me. But anyway, he thinks his brother is being kind of like a radical, and so he sells him out to the syndicate. And Xeon's captured, and that's how the rest of the X-Men got captured as well. Hey, bro, you deserve better than to be left for the lab rats. But this funky shell you've developed since getting shot is making Singe's medtechs salivate. So you can kind of see that they kind of have a relationship, but at the same time, you hate this guy because he is the one that started all the drama. And again, here's Desdemona. And she says, so this is the man Letton claims killed my father. Not quite the mutant antichrist Daddy raved about. More like an oversized handbag. And you're thinking, man, she's kind of a bitch. But, yeah, there's a twist at the end with Desdemona. And while that's going on, the X-Men are able to traverse the casino. Because it's like, basically, he owns, Lawton owns everything. From the casino, labs, everything. And it's all interconnected. So they have to kind of play espionage or what was it on American Dad? Steve always called it identity theft. He had to play identity theft to find the rest of their teammates. And you can see that they're not real happy about it. They said that it's like some sort of Novocaine to kind of keep them sedated. You can see Tina here, which her real name, or her team name is Serpentina, because she kind of stretches. She's sort of like Mr. Fantastic. She's sort of a hothead. She goes, forget this stupid computer, Shikati. I can't stand seeing my friends bottled up like so much food produce. Now, again, she's hot-headed. She could have tripped any number of alarms, but thankfully, the teammates are alive. And I want to get to know these guys more because as I followed this book, I think when I was younger, when this series came out, I didn't want to have to try to get to know more characters. I think is why I shied away from X-Force and X-Factor because I knew who the X-Men were and I didn't want to get to know all these other characters. But now, years later, I'm enjoying them. I mean, I don't know much about them. The names I'm still kind of getting used to. But overall, yeah, it's great stuff. Now here, Crystalline, or Crystalline, there it is. They're looking for her. So she's able to kind of freely navigate Lawton's casino and all his private areas. And she comes across this what do you call it? Hologram. And you can see this guy's very much like a cowboy Tex type. It's like, don't think I didn't know you've been gutting behind my back, cutting deals with Alchemex and the Cyber Nostrata. Or Nostrit. Feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. My pronunciation once in a while can really suck. I've never asked much from you, but I expected some loyalty. Well, choke on this, you little vulture. I'm amending the will, and I'm cutting you out. Can't believe I ever sired such a pale-blooded runt like you. Now, I know this is supposed to be serious, because we see here, this is the reveal that Lawton murdered his father, and pinned it on Xeon, which makes Crystalline, yeah, jump. She's like, so you set Xeon up for the murder you committed. Now feel the sharp edge of instant karma press against your throat. Good stuff. But in the back of my mind, while I'm reading that big text guy, which is Lawton's father, I kept thinking of freaking Big T Larity from Code Monkeys. If you've not seen that, go on YouTube. They have the whole series there. Oh, it's hilarious. But yeah, he reminds me of Big T Larity. Now again, Crystalline here is ready to take out Lawton now that she's figured out what the coup was. But then she runs into Junk Pile. That's his name. And she's, nobody likes him because he's the Judas of the team. But what happens is, right here, Desdemona finds out what really happened. No, Lawton, it's time I take charge. As much as I hate cleaning up your messes, we still have a band of mutants roaming the casino. So even though she just found out about her father and what really happened, I like that she's cool, calm, for the most part, collected, and wants to focus on the business at hand. Now all this accumulates into a big battle. Now, real quick thing, let's pause. I want to take a little anecdote trip here. Now, a lot of the older books, yes, I hate that they put ads. But I kind of want to reference how we went over Vote Loki in that modern issue of X Factor. How everything was flat, bland, boring, bad jokes, and you couldn't get excited for nothing. 1993. Look at this. This is when they were promoting the Punisher War Journal. I love how they give you sort of like a Frank Castle's, what do you call it? Journal, per se, and shows what happened, how he misses his family. You don't see stuff like this anymore. Look at the dynamic art and everything that's going on. You don't see stuff like this in modern comics anymore. And then when you're done with that, you get a badass promotion for Ghost Rider. Then you flip the page, boom, this issue, the New Warriors. And we get a whole thing about, like they're interviewing. We get Nova. And look at how badass he looks. And then we go back to the New Warriors, Night Thrasher, Speedball, and talk about how the New Warriors were formed. And it's just great little moments to get you excited about books that were coming out around this era. I don't see that stuff anymore. And then also I don't see these awesome ads for KB Toys anymore. God, I miss that place. It's where I bought all my Captain Planet and Ninja Turtles back in the day. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of take a trip down memory lane and just see how, I mean, look at this. Offers for, Spider-Man and the X-Men, even though, I don't remember if that was an LJM book, video game. But I remember that was a classic one. Then, of course, Street Fighter 2. You don't see that type of stuff in books anymore to get excited about. And even then, it's few and far between, or it just seems oversaturated or underwhelming. Anyway, going back into it, I love this little moment here. This character. God, what's his name? Again, I'm still getting used to all these guys' names. I think this is Skullfire. I think this is Timothy Fitzgerald. I'm not 100% sure. It could either be that or Main Streak. I think this might be Henry, or I have them backwards. But he's talking about, they get flushed out by these bad guys who their names are the Rat Pack. There it is. Again, that makes me think of Frank Sinatra. Anyway, moving on. But again, this is supposed to be a casino, so everything is very much gamble, like they're puns. It's kind of dumb, but at the same time, it works for this book and in this world. This guy, he's talking about how he can't control his powers, like they're random, like how Jubilee started out. And she's like, you can do more than you know. You just need a push. So before the Rat Pack can take out the X-Men, boom, you see just a taste of what this guy's powers can do. Whew. And that's what I'm talking about when you start to see character development like that. You know you're in for a good time. Now, spoiler. I wanted to bring up Tina earlier. The Serpentina. How she's a hothead. She kind of reminds me of Logan. She wants to take out Junk Pile for betraying Xian, capturing her teammates and hurting them. So before Cerebra can, give the attack cry, she goes, wait, not yet. She goes, you son of a Tina, no. And just like that, Junk Pile just smashes her. Off my back, little girl. And right there is the death of Serpentina. A little underwhelming, but, when you're in the heat of battle, not everything is grandiose. So it's kind of like the catalyst, like the fire that starts the whole powder keg that really is like the call to action for everybody. And then this character, Bloodhawk, this guy is a badass. I want to read more about this dude. He reminds me a little bit of Sunfire, Shiro, from the aspect is where Shiro left the X-Men after Giant Size X-Men #1, saying, the people of Japan need me. I can't be here with the X-Men, and he leaves. Bloodhawk is very much the same, where he's sort of like the protector of the Outlands, attacking Singe's supply routes and whatnot. And one thing I wanted to mention here that I didn't think of at the time, but like how they bring up Alchemex and Shriek, I think is the name of the drug. But that very much ties into Spider-Man 2099 and Miguel O'Hara. So I like that even though these comic books are separate, they intertwine in this world. But yeah, Bloodhawk, very cool character. And he sees what the X-Men are trying to do, but he doesn't want to give up his mission to the wasteland of the people out there. Now, Xian eventually awakens from this cocoon, and he's saying, that's new to me. That's apparently a second mutation for me. And he says, enough mutant blood has been spilled today. He's like, you should have stayed in your cocoon, brother. And he screams, Xavier, junk pile, you disappoint me. Yeah, I made a mistake. I never should have let that sharpshooter into the gathering. I should have killed you myself. And in a sense, if you think about it, Xian and junk pile remind me of Xavier and Juggernaut. He goes, you're too slow for that, brother. As you can see, his hands are bandaged, and when he takes them off, he goes, you should have worried about me connecting. One touch of my hand disrupts the molecular structure of the metal in your body. I imagine it is quite painful. Very cool, calm, collected, as a leader should be. And he talks about how he used to have rage. Because everyone's like, why didn't you kill Junk Pile? It's like, because then he'll never learn, like I did. Witness my transformation from destroyer to healer. The physical trauma of my injury catalyzed a second mutant ability. Since childhood, I lived with one hand whose touch brought chaos and destruction. Now a balance is struck, and the other hand offers redemption. That's some good writing right there, which I don't think we went over the credits. We'll go over that here in a second. But anyway, it ends with, of course, the funeral of Tina. And this kind of reminds me of the trial by fire of the new X-Men when Thunderbird sacrificed himself, and it really shook Scott to the core and the entire team. But instead of being unsure about themselves, this solidified a lot of everyone's resolves. And this issue, essentially, with her death, brings about the birth of the 2099 X-Men. Damn good writing, man. Good stuff all around. Speaking of which, oh, look at that. A Bloodwing just smashing in there. Speaking of which, this issue is called Viva Las Vegas. I just love that because this is in Vegas. Dynamic art, guys. How to draw the Marvel way. That's how you draw the Marvel way. Now, with that said, this is John Francis Moore writing, Ron Lim penciler, Adam Kubert, Chris Ivey, Jim Sanders III, Cam Smith, Gary Martin, inkers all tried and true, Ken Lopez and John Babcock letters, Tom Smith colorist, Joey Cavallari editor, and Tom DeFalco editor-in-chief. Guys, I never thought that this book could be as good as it was. It was pretty freaking spectacular. Yeah, there was some lulls, don't get me wrong. But again, has everything that you'd want in a comic book. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. I plan on trying to get the next few issues and go back and try to find issue 2 as well. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Viva Las Vegas bell next to subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content. You guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.